Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jace Mackey. The despair among residents of Lytton, BC is palpable. The place they called home has been reduced to rubble after a raging wildfire destroyed practically everything in its path. Among the hundreds who made it to safety is a feeling of profound sadness and not knowing what will happen next.
We're trying to get a room so we can decide what we're going to do, or where we can go. But that's where we're at.
These aerial shots show the extent of the damage. The RCMP detachment and ambulance building were among the structures that are gone. Today, the search continues for several people still unaccounted for. Officials aren't giving exact numbers. They say once it's safe to enter the village, they will do so. With the weekend coming up, SGI is wanting to remind drivers to not drive distracted or impaired. Our Shelby Clark chatted with them for tips on how to have a safe summer road trip.
I'm speaking with Tyler McMurtry with SGI to give a reminder for drivers coming up on this kind of long weekend for some people in the community. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Oh, happy to be here.
So what tips is SGI wanting to share with drivers for this weekend coming up?
Well, we like to keep it basic. And when we're talking about being safer on the roads, we all often focus on the big four. So what I mean by that is impaired driving, distracted driving, speeding, and improper seatbelt use. Because one of those four factors or more is present in more than 8 in 10 fatal collisions that we see in Saskatchewan. So if you simply drive sober, drive without distractions, buckle up, and obey speed limits, you're going a long way to making yourself a lot safer. And when we're talking about a long weekend, we want these tips to be kept in mind, throughout the summer as well, because we know that people will be maybe after a year plus of feeling a little cooped up, maybe looking to hit the road, go on a road trip, and these are the kind of things that can keep you safe.
And what kind of fines could people get when it comes to distracted driving?
Oh, distracted driving, very significant fines in Saskatchewan. It's $580 for your first ticket, and if you get repeat offenses, the consequences go up. A second offense within 1 year of being convicted of your first, that's a $1,400 ticket, plus you get a week-long vehicle impoundment, and you'll have to pay the towing and impound fees there as well. And if you're unfortunate enough to get a third distracted driving ticket within 1 year of being convicted of your first, and there are people that do this, that ticket is $2,100 and another week-long vehicle impoundment. Plus, you get 4 demerit points with every single ticket. So those will likely result in some additional financial penalties as well. We just want people to keep their hands off their phone, keep the hands on the steering wheel, their eyes on the road, and they don't have to worry about getting one of those expensive tickets.
And how many incidents were there last month when it came to drivers in Saskatchewan for distracted driving and impaired driving?
So for impaired driving, we saw actually the most impaired offenses reported in a single month since we've been doing the monthly traffic safety spotlights about 5 years ago. 507 impaired driving offenses, including 366 criminal code charges. Now, when it came to distracted driving offenses, we were just over 700, which is lower than it's been prior to the fines being increased. We were seeing routinely over 1,000 per month, but still 700 plus. When you consider that those folks are getting some very expensive tickets, we want to bring those numbers down as well.
What are some suggestions you tell drivers for their journeys to try and not get distracted?
Sure, there's plenty of things that you can do. If you're an experienced driver, you are allowed to use that phone hands-free. So mount it, set your playlist, set your GPS if you're using your phone's navigation tools, and just mount it and essentially forget it. Use those voice-activated commands if you need to, play a different song or something like that, or dictate a text. You can also hand it to your co-pilot, let them deal with the phone. If you're one of those people that really can't keep your eyes and your hands off your phone, maybe just put it out of sight, out of mind. You can put it in the trunk or the back seat, in the glove box or in a purse or a bag. Just put it away, forget about it until you arrive at your destination and you can check your messages. Just with these no text selfie or TikTok videos worth the $580 tickets. So leave your phone alone until you're done driving, and then catch up when you get there.
And you were saying that SGI saw a lot more distracted and impaired driving last month than you've seen when SGI has started the monthly check stops. Has there been more incidents through COVID-19 that you've noticed than in previous years?
Well, I think what we've seen is that it's remained pretty consistent, and we have seen some months that were higher than typical. There is some indication that alcohol and drug consumption may have gone up during COVID. So you might think that if that's happening, then more people are driving under the influence as well. Don't want to see that. I mean, nobody's saying that you can't have a couple of beer after work or hanging out with your friends. Just make a plan for a safe ride home. Of course, cannabis is legal now, but there's still zero tolerance for drug impaired driving in Saskatchewan. Any amount of cannabis in your system is going to result in at least a 3-day vehicle seizure and a license suspension. And you can also get criminal code charges as well. And the penalties are much more significant with those.
Oh, perfect. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Tyler.
Thanks, Shelby.
A local business has been recognized at the 2021 Alberta Business Awards of Distinction. I sat down and caught up with that business. The Lloydminster Home Hardware was recently recognized at the Alberta Business Awards of Distinction, and to talk a little bit more about this, I'm joined by co-owner of the Lloydminster Home Hardware, Tasha Hilderman. So Tasha, before we talk about the award that Home Hardware won, can you just tell me a little bit more about the awards in general and how you get nominated?
We were nominated for the Alberta Business Awards of Distinction, I think in February, like early on in this year, and they are awarded to businesses that really personify entrepreneurialism in Alberta. And the nominations this year, I believe there were 253 overall nominations that were then made it down to 54 finalists in the, I think, 13 categories.
And then Lloydminster Home Hardware won, I think the award was Alberta's Best of Business Award. So how does it feel to be able to be recognized in that way?
It was overwhelming and definitely something that really meant a lot to us, especially over this past year. I hope you enjoy my background. It's feeling very tropical today, so we're going with the tropical theme. Especially over this past year, we really had a call to action to serve the community in what we were going through with COVID. And it really, our team came together and rose to the challenge. We weren't closed at all over the course of the pandemic, so we remained open the entire time. There's only a few industries that did that. So our team, as we were all as a community facing this major worldwide challenge none of us had ever been through before, we had our community, our customers, our team all come together to support each other and to make it through that. So then being recognized this year as the best of business, which is the top honor from the Alberta Business Awards of Distinction, just really kind of made us all feel good coming. It's a nice way to end off, hopefully, us coming out of this difficult past 15 months.
So as you mentioned, you guys never had to close, but still COVID impacted you in probably a bit of a negative way at points and stuff. But moving forward and after receiving this award, how optimistic are you for the future of the business and kind of how things are going?
One thing we really noticed, and I think it was Mindy from Brixton Shoes that first pointed it out, was there was a conscious effort in the community to support local, and seeing how much of an impact and how much of a difference that can make when we really do support our own community. It's fun to go shopping in other places and to go to the big city, but really keeping some of that support in Lloydminster helps Lloydminster as a whole. And it really brought us all together. And I think the sense of community in Lloydminster is at an all-time high for as long as I've been here. And going forward, I hope that continues. We really feel a stronger connection to everyone. And I think that all of us going through this trial together and realizing that we can come out of it better is just something for us all to celebrate. And we're just very excited to receive this honor and to represent Lloydminster in that way.
Now, you mentioned your background's tropical and we're going through this heat wave. I'm sure a lot of people have been stopping by Home Hardware just to, pick up different stuff to help them get through this heat wave. But I also saw that Home Hardware is accepting donation that's going to be going towards some local organizations. So can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. It was Dawn Flowen that came up with the idea for Give Me Shelter. And she actually came up with it when it was -40 outside. So she was thinking of shelter at that time from the extreme cold we experienced in the winter. And so she thought of the Give Me Shelter campaign, which is in support of all the sheltering agencies in Lloydminster, the Interval Home, the Men's Shelter, the Youth Center, and the Drop-In Center. So they'll provide physical shelter, but then also shelter from challenging experiences that people are experiencing. Now, with the reverse, where we're almost at +40, it is just as dangerous and just as important to provide shelter and cooling stations for people that may not have an opportunity in their own homes or may not have a home to go to. So we are accepting donations at all of the tills. For Give Me Shelter. There's also an opportunity to do that online at curated.hhloyd.com. You can make a cash donation that way. And we also have jewelry that Dawn, who is an artist, made. The proceeds from that go towards the Give Me Shelter campaign. So definitely on a day like today, if you're seeking shade and cool in your basement, think about the people that might not have that opportunity. And the community as a whole, $5 goes a long way when a whole bunch of people contribute.
Yeah, I think it's great that you guys are doing that to help out, especially here in this local community. Is there anything else that you will have to add today, Tasha?
Just thank you to Lloydminster for your support of the business. We are looking forward to hopefully having our night market again in August, which is a day of celebration for all the local growers and artisans. And when we previously had it in 2019, it was a great community event. We're looking forward to seeing everybody again at that this August.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me, and congratulations on the award again.
Thank you very much.
And now here's Connor Chan with the first look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jace. As we look at temperatures right now, mainly the big thing is cloud coverage. We are finally starting to see clouds in the forecast. We haven't seen that in a very long time, and we're going to continue to see them throughout the weekend here, as we are expecting a little bit of showers as there's some systems making their way through parts of Alberta. Edmonton, Cold Lake could see some showers. They did see some showers a little bit later, and then could see some of that again onto the weekend. But 26 was what we saw this afternoon. We are going to, of course, staying in around that 35-degree range there. But just taking a look at some other temperatures around the area, it started to cool down, as you can tell, as lots of temperatures are, in those higher 20s and lower 30s area. So St. Paul at 26, Bonnyville 30, Cold Lake at 31 degrees right now, Edmonton at 28, still pretty high in North Battleford at 33, and 33 also for Macklin as well. The heat warning is still in effect though, regardless, and lots of those areas, as I mentioned, that we talked about all week, are still in effect there. A little bit of a severe thunderstorm watch as well, just south of Edmonton. So in those Calgary, Red Deer areas, we could see some thunderstorms starting to build up, and we could start to see that for us here in the Lakeland region. 20 degrees overnight in North Battleford with some cloud coverage. 29 tomorrow will be the expected daytime high for Cold Lake. We could see some of those same showers coming over overnight tonight at 20 degrees, and then we'll see 28 degrees tomorrow for the daytime high. And then for us here in Lloydminster, 19 degrees, so it's going to cool off quite a bit there. And then 27 is expected for tomorrow. We of course did see the daytime high of 35 degrees. I know it says 26 there, but that's kind of what we saw a little bit earlier in the day. So it wasn't as hot as we did see in the afternoon here, but we are going to start to see temperatures start to cool down here as we see in the next 3 days. 22 on Sunday, and then 20 degrees on Monday as we get back to those normal average daytime lows and highs, as we're back to 22, like I said, for Sunday, with that low of 15 and then low of 10 expected for Monday, as we are starting to get that cloud coverage back once again. That's a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. The band Foghat is celebrating its 50th anniversary with the release of a new album later this month. Stacey Comer spoke with Roger Earle, one of the founding members of the group, about the album and the upcoming tour.
Well, I am so excited to be joined today by somebody who I never thought I'd get the chance to interview. Roger Earle is here. Roger from Foghat, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
It's fine to speak with you, Stacey. Good morning.
Well, and we are talking today. This is exciting. So much going on in the world these past couple of years. And you guys are coming out now, I guess here in a few weeks, with 8 Days on the Road, which is a live album, and celebrating 50th anniversary. Does that even seem real to you? 50
Not
years?
really, no. Actually, my wife says I still act like a 16-year-old, but 50 years. I mean, that's like, yeah. But it's been a great 50 years. As well, somebody once said, it's been a long, strange trip.
Well, tell me about the album. It's a live album, correct?
Yeah, we recorded it at the end of 2019 at Daryl's House Club, upstate New York. And it was at the end of life. Normally we do lots of fly-ins, but this particular trip we had a Sprinter van, so we had like 4 dates in a row, all between like 300 miles apart. So we drive them. So we were a little tired on the last date, but sometimes this band works best when it's a little tired, because that means you have to concentrate on what you're doing. I've got the album here. Can I show it to you?
Of course, yes.
Could you get your money's worth on this one? It's
Holy smokes.
it's a fold out like that, and of course you have 2 CDs and a DVD and lots of pictures. You might need a magnifying glass to sort of look at them. But
And is it 15 tracks?
14 tracks, I think.
14?
Yeah. It was. Actually, we weren't going to record it or film it. We got to the venue, and we saw the recording equipment they had, and the film. They had a 5-camera shoot, high def shoot, and we said, "Wow!" So at the end of the evening, and actually, we don't normally get a chance to play small rooms because it was only like 250 people. It was sold out, and it felt great. It's all wooden room, and because I'm the drummer. Drums sound good in a wooden room, you know. That's my favorite. Or a bathroom. They sound all right most places. It sounded really good, and we listened to it, and it was Brian Bassett, our lead and side guitar player, mixed it and edited some other stuff. It was. I'm really pleased with it, and we started working on a new studio album. We have a studio down in Florida, in DeLand. So that usually takes us a couple of years to get it done these days.
Well, and now just to top this off, Roger, I see that you guys are also going to be doing a bit of a tour.
Yeah, we start we start in 2 weeks, actually. We got 4 or 5 dates this month. Then August, we have 8 or 9. Then September, we have 12 or 13. But COVID actually put a big dent in everything. That was an absolute nightmare. How are you doing up with that? Are you okay?
We're getting close. All the restrictions are going to be lifted here in just over a week. So it's much better than it was. Yeah, but it sure changed the life for a lot of musicians like yourself.
Yeah, it was. Well, actually, for me, it was okay because I haven't had a year off since I was 12 years old, I don't think. So, you know, I was home. I live on Long Island, on the North Shore. I went fishing, got the vegetable garden working, but I miss being out on the road. That's what I do. So we had a couple of rehearsals with the band, and everybody was really hot to trot, as they say. So yeah, I miss being out on the road. It was nice having the time off, but I want to get back out there.
Are you excited for everything that's still going on? I mean, first of all, to say that you've been, in a band for 50 years is just incredible. And yet you're still doing all of this stuff. You could just sit and relax, you could retire.
Well, a horrible word that is. Retire? Never. I'm going to roll till I'm old and rock till I drop. No, I'm one of the fortunate few in this world. I really enjoy what I do. I play in a great band. We're all sort of brothers of different mothers. I'm one of the fortunate few who gets to earn a decent living at something I really love doing. We should come to Canada, I think.
You should definitely come to Canada. You have lots of fans here. Trust me, I think that you should maybe make that part of your tour.
We don't get there near enough. Let me shout to my manager. Hey, can we go to Canada, please? Okay.
There you go. That's going to work fantastic. We will look forward to it. Well, Roger, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And if people are looking to get the album, when is it officially out?
The 16th of this month is officially out. It's a double CD, DVD, we're also having a double vinyl album out probably in the fall. Apparently everybody wants vinyl these days, so that got put back. But yeah, the 16th of this month, 8 days on the road. It's only rock and roll, but we like it. Who did that song? Some famous band.
Well, once again, Roger, it has been an absolute pleasure. And we do really hope you come to Canada, because there are lots of people who would love to see Foghat, hear, you know, the music, to see it live, and just for us to get live music back again, because it's been so long with this pandemic. It's just going to be a real treat. So we hope to see you here in the future. And thanks again for speaking with us.
My pleasure, Stacey. Thank you very much.
And now here's a look at your stock market prices.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
Welcome back. This year's growing season is in full swing. Despite hot and dry weather, the Saskatchewan government says around 60% of crops are in fair to good condition. Jillian Code has more on the latest crop report.
The Saskatchewan government's end of June crop report shows that despite a dry spring, most of the crops in the Lloydminster area have been advancing fairly normally, with some advancing quickly. Early maturity could mean an earlier harvest, but that isn't necessarily what farmers want.
We may have less risk of frost, but of course with that comes likely less yields, or quality might be compromised as well because the heat has just shriveled everything up.
The past week of hot temperatures has left some canola crops heat blasted.
But what we're also missing is that subsoil moisture, which we had, for many, many years after our wet years, we had a lot of subsoil moisture. But in the last couple of years of dry conditions, of course, the crops have really used that up.
Producers can also expect lower hay yields, as the report says that 100% of this area's hayland topsoil moisture just falls short. With rain on the horizon for early next week, farmers are hoping for the best.
What happens after that rain? Like, is it going to be hot again? Is it going to be windy? Is it going to dry things up? Ideally in Saskatchewan, if it could rain, just a little bit every week, every 2 weeks, just to sustain everything, that would be ideal.
As we move out of the heat wave, Friesen says that a long and slow rain would be most beneficial for crops. Jillian Code, Primetime Local News.
Now here are your agriculture prices for today. The AJHL has announced team schedules for the league's 58th season. Evan Kenny has more on some of the important dates for the Lloydminster Bobcats.
But our guys want to play hockey. That's what we're here to do. We're here to play hockey, and I think it's going to be exciting for our fans too.
September 17th will see all 16 AJHL teams in action to kick off the 2021-22 regular season.
September 18th, our regular season kicks off on home ice against the Bonnyville Pontiac. So exciting rival down the road. On the 17th of September, we'll be in Bonnyville for their home opener. So a little home and home to kick things off. And, I think that's exciting. They're close by. There's always a lot of emotion and energy in those games. And it's a great way to kick off the year.
This will be the first two matchups between the two Northeast teams. Their next meeting will come as the new year approaches.
Over Christmas break on the 29th of December, we'll play Bonnyville as well in a home and home there. That'll be our second home and home. And I think the Christmas, that holiday break is always exciting. Families back in town and different things.
Out of the 60 games this season, 16 will be interlock, where the Bobcats will see the best of the South. Other unique dates include a Halloween game and a Pink the Rink night.
We also have the National Pink Shirt Day, which is in February. So 2 years ago in partnership with Co-op. We had pink in the rink, and it was a free game. So hopefully we can look to do something similar now that we have those dates sorted out, and we can start planning towards that. But those are exciting ones, and what better way to spend it at the rink?
Before the team gets to January, they have to complete the exhibition season starting August 27th. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
And now here's Connor Chan with another look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jace. As we're taking a look at temperatures right now, of course, we were sitting around 26 is what the graph hasn't caught up too much with the Lloydminster area, but we were sitting around 26 in the afternoon. We are, of course, getting into those 30s later on into the evening, and then it's going to drop quite a bit here, and it has dropped quite a bit throughout most parts of Alberta throughout the day as they're out of the 30-degree range for at least parts of central Alberta. So 28 degrees in Edmonton, Edson, and Jasper, 25 also for Whitecourt and in Athabasca as well. The heat and the high pressure are starting to move further out east there. As you can see, Saskatoon sitting at 37 degrees today. They're going to get very warm as well. That heat is going to make its way over into Manitoba as well. 33 in North Battleford and in Prince Albert. 34 also for Meadow Lake as well. A little bit warmer also in those northern parts of Saskatchewan as we take a look up there in those mid-30s. 34 for La Loche, Buffalo Narrows, and in La Ronge, with 37 all the way up in Stony Rapids. Looking over to right now in northern Alberta, 32 in Fort McMurray, 28 in Fort Chipewyan, and then 27 in Peace River and Grand Prairie. As you can see, high level definitely cooled off quite a bit there. They could get a little bit warmer in parts of the evening, but for now it's going to stay kind of pretty consistent in those mid-20s. Looking at southern Alberta, also seeing some 30s continuing on in Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, 34 and 35 degrees, 28 in Calgary as the heat starts to make its way out east, as we're starting to see those high temperatures continuing on into Saskatchewan once again. 36 for Swift Current, 35 for Kindersley, and then 34 in Moose Jaw, as well as 33 in Regina and in Estevan too. As you can see, the heat's continuing to make its way further out there, as I mentioned there. So clear skies in Winnipeg at 32. A little bit of cloud coverage continuing on in those eastern provinces. That's been hovering around for the last little bit here, as we could start to see some more rain and showers expected in the coming days. And we see that in Halifax right now, 13 degrees with some of those showers. Vancouver, a little bit cloudier than the last few days that we saw it, so they're starting to cool down a little bit there. And of course, we know that Lytton has been one of the hottest places in the country over the last week or so, with temperatures getting up as close to 50 degrees Celsius and 28 degrees, up in Yellowknife, with 22 in Whitehorse. Here's what we're expected for tomorrow. We are expected a chance of some showers as well. We could see that in Cold Lake, seeing some thunder showers into tomorrow, and they did see a little bit of that in the daytime today, and then going into tomorrow, we will see lots of 27s as we're starting to finally get out of this heat wave, as we're going to start to see temperatures drop pretty dramatically. So by tomorrow or Sunday, we could be out of that heat warning officially. 27 in Maidstone, 29 in North Battleford, as well as 29 in Meadow Lake as well. Here's a look at the next 7 days, just to give you a little bit of a glimpse of what we could see. We could start to see some rain for sure on Tuesday with that high of 21 degrees. As I said, there is a chance that we could see some showers also into the weekend, but next week we could see that officially there. And then as we get back into Wednesday and Thursday, we could see back into warm temperatures there, but a nice little break there from Sunday to Tuesday will be huge for us compared to the heat that we've had over those last several days. 28 degrees on Wednesday, 27 on Thursday, and 30 degrees on Friday, with that same cloud coverage hovering over us there. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
I'm joined here now with Anna J. Wallner, an author out of Texas, and you recently released your newest novel, Garcane, last week. So could you just give me some background into this book?
The book actually started as an idea a long, long time ago. It's based on my adoption story. So I was adopted from a Houston hospital in 1981. Yes, I'm telling my age. And as a child, you always wonder, the why behind your adoption. And so all of these things come to mind. I'm part royalty. I'm the love child of, Rod Stewart and, Nicole Kidman, something crazy like that. And then as I got older and I started developing my own voice as an author, I've written a couple of other books prior to this series, but I said it's time for me to take on this this narrative. And so I gave my adoption story to Amelia, the main character, and I set it in Australia because I do have an Australian heritage. That's the one thing that I do know. And so I just took it in a very wild direction to see where it would go. And it ended up in a secret society of vampires and werewolves that escaped to New Holland in 1788 and have lived in secret ever since.
So as you're mentioning some of this book, is this what readers can expect to kind of delve into this secret society?
It is based around a community called the Colony, and Amelia is called home for a very specific purpose. And you'll find out what that purpose is in the book. I don't want to give too much away. And it is her sort of birthright to claim her place within the colony and to make the decision of whether or not she wants to unbind from her mortality and take on this task, or go back to her normal, boring life as a human in Houston, Texas, which is where I'm from. And so, yeah, that's really what readers can expect, is delving into the secret society and the characters that you meet along the way. It's a very character-centric, character-driven narrative.
And what draws you to the fantasy genre and keeps you inspired?
I think that just I've always had a fascination with the paranormal, the things that you don't quite understand, and it's always fascinating for me to learn something new about history and about, I have to think that every mythos or version of lore had to be inspired by some kernel of truth. And so that really does intrigue me. And so what keeps me motivated is the characters, because once I begin writing the story, I am just like a reader living in the world alongside of Amelia and Roan and Anatoly and Ambrose and Michelle and all of them. And so I'm going on the same ride that you guys are. I'm writing it and going along for the ride as well. So that's very thrilling to do.
You've already announced the second book in this series, so including this next book, what is your plan and what can readers expect with the whole series?
It's scheduled for a four-book series. So Garcane is the first book in the series, which is just released. And then Lorugo is the second book in the series, which is slated for release on November 2nd of this year. I wanted to, because Garcane does end on a bit of cliffhanger, I wanted readers to know that I made a promise to them at the end of the first book, and that I would, as an author, keep that promise. So I went ahead and set the release date, and the book is already available for pre-order. So you know that you can get invested in the series, and there will be a series. The fourth book is currently in revisions, so they're just waiting.
And your book has been listed as a hot new release on Amazon for June, and the support that you've received so far with pre-ordering and now. So what does that mean to you to see all of that?
Oh, that's amazing. And it made the #1 on Barnes & Noble ebook. So it was the #1 ebook for, I think, 4 out of the first 7 days of release, which was just crazy to see. And it's since, fallen down in the ranks, as, books do. But to see how many people had ordered the book and were interested in the series, it's getting invested in the series itself, was shocking, humbling, exciting, scary. I mean, a myriad of different kind of emotions going through my mind.
And if anyone else is looking to get the book or look ahead at your upcoming releases, where's the best place to go?
You can always go to my website, which is annajwallner.com. But the books are widely distributed. So you can find them on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, all ebook distributors, even Walmart and any book retailer. I know there are a lot that I never even knew existed, like Discount Book and Books a Million, and that we don't have down here in the South. But yes, so it's should be able to find it wide.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Anna.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, for having me. It has been a pleasure, and have a great day, everyone.
You can get your ticket now for one of the big parties of the summer. The Paradise Hill Summer Bash is back, and the Hunter Brothers are going to be the headliners this year. The party takes place at the Paradise Hill Arena on Saturday, August the 7th, and also a part of the show, you've got an opportunity to see the Dirt Rich Band as well. Plus, they're going to be serving up a delicious meal before the Paradise Hill Summer Bash, so make sure you get a ticket for that as well. And there's going to be a ball tournament throughout the weekend in Paradise Hill. All funds raised will go to the Paradise Hill Community Center. Get your ticket now to see the Hunter Brothers at the Paradise Hill Summer Bash. Tickets available at eventbrite.ca. Place your order now so you can enjoy a great picnic with your family through the Decadence and Desserts fundraiser. It's in support of the multi-purpose expansion project at the Vic Juba Community Theatre, and you can order some delicious cheesecake tarts, or what about some cinnamon rolls, or how about ordering the Discovery Cheese Box or the Discovery Charcuterie Box. The Lloydminster District Co-op, they've teamed up with the Vic Juba Community Theatre for this fundraiser. So it's local supporting local, but the order deadline is coming up quickly, Thursday, July 8th at 6 p.m. You can order online at vicjubatheatre.ca, or you can call 780-872-7400. You and your family have the opportunity to explore our area this summer, as a number of museums are now open for the summer. In Paradise Valley, the Climb Through Time Museum, it's such a neat museum. It's open daily now from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Take the trip out to Frenchman Butte. Visit their museum. It's also open daily from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. If you're right here in Lloydminster, you have an opportunity to check out Weaver Heritage Park. It's going to be open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays in July and August from 10:30 until 6 p.m. and admission will be by donation. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
Well, joining us for the entertainment panel, as always, is Abby St. John. Abby, a few things to talk about today, mainly the fact that summer movies are finally back now that movie theaters are allowed to be open. We saw that with Fast 9, with all the money they're making with welcoming people back into theaters. And we got lots of great movies to come out for over the next couple of months between summer and fall as well. We'll start with, starting into the fall, something a little scary, but it's a movie that everybody is finally waiting to see after it did get delayed, but now we're finally going to start to see it back in theaters, and we did get our first glimpse of it earlier last week.
Yes, that is the next Halloween movie, Halloween Kills. It's coming out in October, fitting as the title. But yeah, it looks just as scary as the other ones, just as gory, just as bloody, even more so, I think, with this one. It kind of opens up with a house fire and, you know, Michael rising again out of it. And there's a lot of blood, a lot of slashing, and it shows in the trailer that his victims lead a path back to his childhood home. So, as you know, since the beginning, that childhood home has always been a significant landmark for Michael Myers. So it's fitting that they're leading him back to his childhood home, that he's going back there. And then they show that there's a bigger group of people hunting him down in this one. A lot more people fighting up against him. So I think this is going to be one of the more gorier, more bloodier Halloween movies that we've seen to date. And I love it. I think it's perfect having it just more and more increase in that, goriness and bloodiness. It's mentioned in the trailer that the more kills he does, the bigger and stronger he gets. So I think that's a huge thing with this film series, and this movie looks just as good as the other ones, if not better, and I'm very excited to see it.
And of course, it does pick off right where the first one left off there. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes. And like you said, a little bit too gory, maybe a little bit for my liking there. But another movie, Abby, to talk about that's coming out very soon here in the couple months here in the summer is James Gunn's Suicide Squad. We already saw what he can do with Guardians and other types of movies as well. He's finally bringing his twist, and he has full creative control with this one. And it just looks like something like James Gunn is back, and he's the real deal when it comes to his own projects here.
Yes, this is definitely his film. You can see it in the trailer. You can see it in the scenes that we've seen throughout and the pictures. It already looks better than the original. I personally think that it's going to be better than the original. The group of the members of the Suicide Squad, they just look like more of misfits. They look better than the first one. They seem to gel together a lot nicer, and it's a bigger group of them. It's not just a few. It's a bigger group of criminals that are coming together, and it just looks visually better than the first one or the original one. And what I'm most excited to see with it is Harley Quinn's fight scene, because James Gunn has said in an interview how much he loves Margot Robbie and how much of a phenomenal actor and worker she is. She does a lot of her own stunts. The majority of her stunts she does herself. So he wrote an entire fight scene and choreographed an entire fight scene surrounded by Harley Quinn and that character. And I think that's perfect because Harley is such a fire rocket. She's such a spitfire. So she needs kind of that center stage, if you will, in her own way, which I think is what James Gunn was really going for because of who the character is and just who Margot Robbie is as an actress herself. And it seems to have a lot more comedy, and it fits a lot better as well. So I'm excited to see this movie, a lot more excited than I was for the original one. I think it's just more put together, more structured. The fight scenes are bigger and better and a lot more louder. So I think this one is going to be a huge success, and it comes out August 8th. So very, very soon. Very, very excited.
And one thing James Gunn did say is he would direct a Harley Quinn solo movie. Maybe that's in the works down the road, but we'll see what happens. And one last thing, Abby, just before we wrap things up here really quickly, Shang-Chi is another big one expected for the fall here. We know they're getting their first Asian superhero over at Marvel, and we've got a better look at the movie itself, and it just looks really well done. There's those realistic fight scenes as with martial arts is. So what do you make of what we could see from this next Marvel film to be released in theaters?
Yes, it's coming out September 3rd after being pushed back due to Black Widow also being pushed back. So coming out September 3rd. Visually, it's stunning. The looks and the shots just are absolutely beautiful, just in the trailer alone. So I'm very hopeful for the rest of the movie being just as visually stunning. Like you said, we got a little bit more insight of what we can expect from this movie, and it shows that Shang-Chi is, he's trying to run from his past, specifically his father, who's kind of this hard guy, and he's been hard on him his entire life, and he holds the 10 circles currently, and he's training his son to be just like him. And it shows that Shang-Chi doesn't want to be like his father. He wants a different life. He wants a better life. And so it does show that he has to fight his father, who holds those 10 rings. So a lot of different action scenes, a lot of different people that he has to fight. And in typical Marvel fashion, all those fight scenes beautifully choreographed. So I'm very excited for this movie in every aspect. I think it's going to bring a lot to the MCU. So I'm very, very excited.
And of course, it does feature Kim's Convenience star Simu Liu as the lead there, which is great for us Canadians to see Canada well represented in Marvel. Abby St. John, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. We are going to see temperatures starting to drop a little bit here starting on Sunday, but 27 degrees is what we're expected for tomorrow. And also lots of cloud coverage as well, which has been a nice change. And of course, we did see that throughout parts of the day as well. 20 degrees on Monday and then possible rain expected on Tuesday. We could also see a slight chance of some thunderstorms on Sunday as well. But as we get back to Wednesday, we'll be back to 28 degrees on Wednesday with 27 on Thursday and then 30 degrees back on Friday. But we probably won't have that extreme heat that we had with that 30-degree coming next Friday.
And thank you so much for joining us for Primetime Local News. The second hour continues next on CITL.